What's going on, my good people? Welcome back to Roll the Clip TV. I'm your host, Roberto. For all my singles out there, I got a warning video for y'all. We can't be playing around with people's hearts. There's a term going around that's a millennium term or a Gen Z term called emotional intelligence. Many people don't have emotional intelligence, y'all. And we start playing with people's hearts and people's minds and playing games. We don't know the repercussions, the situations we're going to find ourselves in. But I got a video for y'all that will hopefully illustrate and demonstrate my point. Let's jump into this video, y'all. Roll the clip.
Just showed up to my house. I have not talked to her in months. She showed up to my house. Look at her. She's picking up shit now. I'm going in the house.
I'm gonna tell you what, you put it down. Put it down. You want it? Come on, wait, what's this? Becca, 7112, start me a second unit, please. Put your hands behind your back. Put them behind your back. Metcalf 7112, I'm in the roadway on 4th Street. I've got one.
She threw a brick through my man's window, y'all. She threw a brick through my man's window.
Put your hands behind your back. Hands behind my back. Sit up. Sit for my kids, you and him. Sit up. My kids, you and him. Sit up and sit back. I'm trying to, bitch. I can't fucking see. I told you that. Alright, that's what it is, right? I know where you live, little boy. Know that.
Just be quiet.
She said, I know you live, old boy. She said, I know you live. Let me tell y'all something. My man was playing some games with her. And he slipped up. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to show you how I know he was playing some games.
Nope, I know where he lives. Look out.
I talked to her one time, and I didn't talk to her again after that. And it took literally months.
Okay.
And she came here banging on the door. We're getting ready to go to Chicago. She came here banging on the door. I said, let's just sit down. Don't come to my house without calling. I'm not going to open the door.
Right.
Heard the key turn, and she'll tell you I do it all the time. I'm a DJ, so I work till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
My man said, I'm a DJ. So y'all know, we can start to put this scene together. He was in the club, DJing. He saw her dance on the dance floor. Probably started buying her some drinks, got her back to the house. But my man said that she put the key in the door. I do this all the time. So he keeps a key outside. So he showed her where the key was to his apartment. Playing games.
And I just forgot. And so she went to go turn the key.
Oh, did she break this as well?
So she went to go find the key. Or she went to turn the key in the back door. And I had that deadbolt on the door, so she couldn't get in. And so I held the door closed and I said, please leave my house. You're not welcome here. Don't come to my house without calling. And
it's okay. I can see.
I gotta do something with it anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I said, don't come to my house without calling. You know, you need to leave. I'm gonna call the police. And I warned her 3 or 4 times, and she still kept trying to come in. She's like, I just want to talk. Delete my shit out your phone. I don't know what I have in my phone that she wants.
Come by here then.
I don't know, because I haven't talked to her. So I don't know if she's like, I guess she's like crazy, like I don't know, like.
Gotcha.
But I have not talked to her.
Go for it.
Go to her.
Okay.
And I can show you all the messages, like she constantly texting me back and forth, and I wasn't responding.
Let me tell y'all something. Not now, not ever am I going to always leave a key in my back door. Ever. There's never a situation in life where I'm going to leave a key in my back door, especially in this situation where you got people coming and going. Oh, I do this all the time. You know, we could put the blame on anybody we want in the situation, but I'm sorry, my brother said, I'm going to blame him for this one. 1,000%. No matter what her issues are, I'm going to blame him for this situation because I'm sure he incited this. She's way too up close and personal. She has too many little, she knows too many little things of his personal business in terms of where he's leaving the key, what time he's going to be home, what he does. She knew when to be at that house and when to try to put that key to that door. And she said, I just want to have a conversation with you.
So then she comes to the door, and I'm like, you know, you need to leave. I didn't ask her what she wanted or anything like that. And she's like, delete my shit out your phone. I've been calling and texting you. You not answering the phone. Woo, 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 woo.
When was this that you had your one-nighter with her?
Like months ago.
And she's been still trying to get in contact with you since?
Dante, all right. Any other questions at all?
How would I go about getting a restraining order? Because she's talking about coming back when she gets out.
Good idea.
All right, I'm going to get you on the phone before they come out here and get you.
Hello? Dude, I got pepper sprayed and every fucking thing. They taking me to jail. That nigga talking about he pressing charges. Call my auntie and tell her and my uncle them to get their ass down here ASAP. Call her and I just told you what's going on. I'm at the prison right now. These people trying to take me to jail. Call my auntie Mika and tell her what's going on. All right.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles, my brothers and sisters. Now that is the way the cookie crumbles. Let me tell y'all something. In this world we live in, it is a very strange, it is a very different world from the world that I grew up in. We met people face to face, we shook their hands, and while we couldn't always see the crazy up front, we did have an advantage in the situation because at least we were able to view and we had some common senses. Although, my brothers and sisters, I can actually tell you that I probably can tell you about one or two stories when I did not have common sense, but nevertheless, especially when I was younger. But we got to be careful. We start talking about people, you know, as funny as this may seem, there are people who are unfortunately leaving this planet way too early because they're playing around with people's hearts and people's lives. And so while I did not want to make this a PSA, there is as a human being, as a man, there's a certain responsibility that we have to have in terms of dealing with the opposite sex. When my wife and I were dating, I remember her coming over to my little studio apartment I had at the time, and we were dating, and my wife had a lot of high standards, and so there was a period of time where she just kind of cut me off because she's like, she didn't want what this situation was. Not that we were doing that, but she knew what God wanted from her life, and God did not want her to have a permanent friend, quote unquote friend, or quote unquote a boyfriend. And so she shut me down, y'all, for at least a year. And then we started dating again, maybe like a year or so later. But there was one day she had come over, and I believe she was making something to eat. She was doing something in my little kitchenette. It wasn't a full kitchen, it was a kitchenette. And I remember looking at her, and I just felt like God in my soul was like, marry her or leave her alone. Responsibility, my brothers and sisters. In my soul, I'm telling y'all, I felt it. It was like, marry her or leave her alone. Don't play this game with my daughter where she gonna come over clean and for quote unquote friends with benefits. Not that was our situation, but that's the terminology that I want to use in this particular case. And I remember sitting there on the end of my bed, and I remember saying to myself, you know what, you're right. And a couple months later, I proposed. It was a very real moment I had because I saw her value. I saw her worth. And this is something that we have to have a conversation about. We're talking about all these one-night stands and dating, and we live in such a weird time when it comes to what this particular society considers dating and who should bring what to the table. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna say this: it is 1,000% a man's responsibility to initiate, to bring something to the table, and to say to himself or to her, this is what it's going to be. I think one of the situations with this particular video is that no one's taking accountability. I'm gonna say he's not taking accountability because it was his house. It was his house. He brought her to his house for whatever the one night stand is, whatever their conversations, whatever private conversations were. Clearly, she was misled, which is why she's acting out. Which is why she's acting out now. And so a lot of times we get ourselves into trouble because we just want to we want to keep people's hearts entangled for no other reason other than to keep them on the side, so that when we feel lonely or we get in our, as my brother says, in our nest, we want to pick up the phone and call him. Hey, how you doing? And when I felt like when I felt like God spoke that to my soul. Listen, he said, marry my daughter or leave her alone. It wasn't like, oh, no, he said, my daughter. And so when a father issues you a statement like my daughter, now I know I'm in a different playing field. And I saw her value. I saw her worth, and we'll be married. We'll be married 9 years in a couple of months. We've been together for about 10 years now. But I say that to say, these one night stands that people love to have, come on, we got to grow up. My brothers, we got to grow up. We got to grow up. You got to throw in the towel. And there's so many men. I think I shared this on another video, but I want to throw this in here real quick because I want you to just understand my particular stance on relationships, dating, and marriage. I had an associate maybe about 10 years ago who wanted to get married. I did tell a story before. And at the last minute, they called the wedding off. I was gonna be the officiant of this ceremony, and they called the wedding off because the bride-to-be was on permanent disability, and if they were to get married, the benefits would have stopped. And see, that's the difference between dating, being engaged, and being married. Marriage is a full-time commitment. So my man called me. He was like, Rob, look, I still want to have the ceremony, but we're not gonna officially get married. So I actually pulled out. At the time, I spoke to my wife. She's like, hey, listen, whatever you just decide, I respect what you decide. And I actually pulled out. Because I did not want to go through because people were still coming. They were still having a dinner. People were still giving gifts. And I just thought that was kind of disingenuous. And I just felt very uncomfortable because I know how I feel about marriage. And so when we start talking about one night stands, so I was talking about dating. Any young man who's listening to this video, or young lady, and you want your young man to listen to this video, share this video. Let me tell you something, my brothers. Is it a scary thing? At times it can be, but the benefits and the rewards of being faithful and the benefits and the rewards of being committed to one individual far outweigh the BS that we just saw in this video. Far outweigh. I've said this before. I'll say it again. My wife and I have we purchased our first home together. Had it not been for her, I wouldn't be sitting in a house that we own. The benefits of it. The benefits far outweigh all the other BS. This lady was clearly hurt. When we start texting people, when we start keeping people's male and female, because women are doing this now too. When we start keeping people's hearts entangled because we want them to stay right where they are. You ever see how somebody breaks up with somebody and 2 weeks later they're in another freaking relationship? I always have a question mark about that, because it's like, well, who was that person? How did it happen so quickly? Because that is the culture we live in. At times, especially men, sometimes as a man, we are so damn sometimes we are so damn afraid to be alone that we bounce from one relationship to another relationship to another relationship. One of the greatest things I appreciate, that I had time to be alone. I lived by myself for a while. I had time to be alone. Listen, my brothers, as crazy as this is going to sound, I remember I was taking the garbage out one day, right? In my apartment. I was taking the garbage out one day. I'm walking down the hallway, and I said to myself, wow, you do like to clean up. You do like to keep your house clean. See, when you're involved in a relationship, if you've been married before or in any prior subject X situation, there are things that you do for the relationship. There are things that you do for the other person, and sometimes, especially if the situation lasts I'm saying situation on purpose, y'all. I ain't no idiot. If the situation lasts any length of time, a lot of times, both individuals, and this is a part of marriage. Marriage is about losing yourself, not losing who you are as a human being, getting squashed and belittled. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the level of sacrifice that you give. So you lose yourself. And so a lot of times, there's another situation where I remember going to the food store and finally having to shop just for myself. A lot of men don't like to be alone. They don't want to commit to working, paying their own rent. And I'm not coming down on y'all brothers. I'm just saying I've been through this process before where you got to pay your own bills. Now you got to pay your own car payment. I am at least somewhat grateful that I was able to present myself to my baby. I'm not gonna say whole because I still have a lot of growing to do, but at least there were some things I had in order. And so when we made the decision to blend lives, we blended our lives. She didn't come with 60 and I came with 20. I didn't come with a 60 and she came with 20. We came 50-50. We both had dishes. We both had things that we had to share and get rid of and downsize so that we can make that first transition work. That's what this issue is all about. Not this BS right here, y'all. Not this BS right here. You know, we a lot of times as men, and I'm not a woman, so I don't know if women go through this too, but a lot of times as men, it is just the thought, especially if you're so accustomed to having another relative, a mother, take care of you to such an extent. I personally believe that every freaking man, by the time he's 20, 21 years old, until he gets married, needs to live by himself. I just believe that. I know rent is crazy. I know that's not the norm. There is a level of growth. There's a level of maturity in life. I'm telling y'all, it's a level of maturity in life that you will never ever experience until you have to deal with yourself. I thought there were certain things I thought I had all together. You know, there was things I was working on. And then once you get into a marriage or a serious relationship, you'll find out how much more you have to go. But at least, brothers, when we come to the table, let's come to the table with something. I applaud your efforts. I applaud what you're doing. I applaud you working hard. All I'm saying is, all this one night stand, all these different games that people like to play, enough of that. It's 2024, y'all. We can have these conversations, but real strength and real manhood is the ability to settle down, is the ability to make one woman your queen, the ability to dedicate your mind, your heart, your body, and your soul to one individual. Thank y'all for checking out World Cup TV. Let me know what y'all think. Get at me. Let me know. Do me a favor, on your way out of this video, hit that subscribe button. I'm out. Peace.
Bye. Something to say. Hey! You got something to say.